Hey, Commander Shepard, this video's for you. I said I'd do a couple of videos for you, so here they are. First thing I want to show you is here the item I have up here, this round ball, that's the shot put. So essentially what the shot put is really good for is that if you get your enemy to the stagger status to where their bar is glowing or flashing, but their bar is flashing white. If you can't get to them, like if they're too fast or they're running away, you can hit a shot put and it'll stun them. And then you can go in for your fatal attack or whatever it's called. I'm gonna do it one more time. It'll do it every single time, even if its bosses thing is don't sleep on the puppet strings. In my opinion, puppet string is the best Legion arm in the game. I know you use Aegis a lot. Aegis is not bad, but I really don't see the need for an Aegis when you can do perfect block. And I understand Aegis has a counter, but the True Dragon Sword has a counter. But anyway, the reason why is because with puppet strings, so long as you look at your surroundings, and plus if you are a Souls game player, you kind of know that some enemies might be lurking around a corner, or you might be like, hey, this area was like an ambush, and you look around a corner, you see there's an enemy there, but you haven't aggroed them. Or if there's an enemy, say like I'm right here and there's an enemy like way back there, I'm not going to go way back there to get that enemy. I'm going to just use puppet strings and pull that enemy toward me. And the reason why is because normally that's a trap. If there's an enemy right there by that statue, there may be like 3 or 4 more enemies I can't see. Or they'll spawn in as soon as I go to the enemy, and that's an ambush. So you pull that enemy toward you, take out that enemy, and then you go there and deal the ambush. But on the dummies, you can't pull them towards you. My puppet string is fully upgraded, and the reason why is so I can do this. Be careful, because if there's like a big enemy, like who's tall, they might still be able to hit you if they're doing an overhead while you're in the air. But generally, they can only hit you if they happen to be swinging or rushing forward. Once you're in the air, if they don't happen to be doing overheads, then they'll just miss you, and then you can come down, and that attack counts as a heavy attack. So keep that in mind. Use whatever Legion arm you want, but this is just me. I use the puppet strings. So anyway, to the weapon. Right now I'm using True Dragon Sword, and I'm using Tyrant's Murderer's Dagger. So I'll start with the Tyrant Murderer's Dagger first. Alright, so Tyrant's Murderer Dagger is the highest crit weapon in the game. You see it has a base crit rate of 30, so 30%. It may not seem like much, but once you use the weapon, start using the weapon more, you kind of will notice, like, it. And essentially when you stab or hit, that's regular, that's a crit. When you hear that pop, or that doom sound, that's a crit. That's a crit. 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 Crit at the first hit. Crit. No crits there. Crit first hit. Crits second hit. Crit second hit. It's all thrust, no slashes. The heavy, if you tap the heavy, you just do that. That can, as far as I'm aware of, still crit. With it being a heavy, yeah, it might, you won't get a crit as fast as you would if you were busting out lights. But yeah, so the charge heavy is pretty much the same heavy as the rapier, and 2 of those, it's 3 attacks. 2 of those are crits. No crits there. 2 crits. No crits. No crits there. One crit. No crits. Two crits. Alright, so it has two Fable Arts. One, which is the hold, the two slot Fable Art. It's just a stab. It's a really quick stab. Uh, the single bar Fable Art is this, and it increases its crit chance further. Remember, it has a base 30% crit. It doesn't last too long. You can use, you know, items and your quartz power-ups to, you know, make your stuff last longer, of course, for your Fable Arts. Anyway, pop it. Crit, 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 crit there. Crit first hit. Crit first hit. Crit first hit. Crit first hit. Those last two hits were crits. So, you know, it'll do the job, and like I said, it will. It does have a chance of crits do have a chance of staggering enemies out their attacks. That does include bosses. But anyway, that's that. It's a dagger. It's a light weapon, all thrusts, and then you can, you know, put your, you know, your amulets and stuff accordingly. I have Armor of God amulet. That's a from beating Champion Victor. You can trade his ergo for that. Patience amulet you find, it increases your stamina recovery speed. I pretty much actually have that equipped because of True Dragon Sword. True Dragon Sword, once again, is a stamina hog. So instead of having more stamina, I just have my stamina regen faster. Conquering amulet, you can get that for beating the last boss of the Puppet Factory. You know, you can trade his ergo for that. And then Carrier's Amulet, you find that later. This is the Carrier Amulets +1. You find the regular Carrier's Amulets, you know, first, and then this one. And it just allows you to carry more weight because these puppet parts and these defense parts cost a lot of weight in the end. So anyway, True Dragon Sword, you were using this a bit when I was watching you during stream fighting the Weasel Robber. But, you know, it's that while you are flashing the R1s, if you hold left or right, you will move around your opponent like that. So you can, you know, get opportunities to move behind enemies while they're trying to attack, dodge attacks and attack at the same time. And, you know, with that. So, True Dragon Sword has a unique mechanic. So, when you tap the heavy, you do that. Tap it again, you'll do a follow-up for that slash. That's a light heavy. Now, the unique mechanic is this. That's a charge heavy. Now, let go, you do that slash. That's your charge heavy. Now, when he does a spin and then he hits this stance and you see that flash is a perfect guard. So, you know, perfect guard, and then you can hit the enemy. Here's the thing about that. 9 times out of 10, and I say 9 times out of 10 to be generous, I have not seen an enemy when they hit me during that perfect guard flash, I have not seen an enemy power through that. Like, they have every enemy I've perfect guarded with that ability has gotten knocked back or staggered, bosses included. Like, I have not seen a boss like still come at you. Like I said, with this puppet, it's made to still come at you no matter what. Um, but yeah, when that flash happens, you know, they hit you and then they get smacked. You do not have to release um, your heavy to do that follow-up attack from the counter. If you hit them with the guard impact, um, you will automatically follow up with that attack. And it may not automatically um, bring them to the riposte state for an enemy, but you will knock them back more than likely for the guard impact. So that's if they don't get staggered. If they just get knocked back, they may counter somehow. Um, but even if they do manage to get knocked back and try to encounter, at um, you know, um, they will still get hit by that heavy follow-up. So some honorable mentions here with weapons I want to mention for you, show you. All right, so you got the electric coil stick. You know, I saw you have that. You told me you got it. So one weapon I told you about earlier was the booster glaive. You get this weapon in the area where the first puppet of the future is, in the puppet factory. It's right behind him, in that area where all the corruption is. You managed to fight him and beat him. You managed to drain the corruption, so you didn't have to deal with it, which was nice. I would not have known that had I not actually seen a video about it before I fought him. But booster glaive is a technique weapon, and you know it's a heavy swinging weapon. It's not totally bad. Those are the lights. That's the tap heavy, you charge heavy, you do that. Or second, you know, you do that. The Fable Art, it has two 3-bar Fable Arts. Keep that in mind. You hold it down, you get that. If you tap it, you get that. It's link dodge, I'm basically. And then, you know, there you go. It's a technique weapon. You know about the acidic crystal spear. So the other fire weapon, I mentioned to you once that you get another fire weapon outside of the salamander dagger, which is this weapon. It's a black steel color blade. And it's a fire cleaver. That's a great sword type. And you do that. Yeah, those are the R1. You can see the speed is, you know, weird. But there you go. This the Fable Art, the 1-bar Fable Art is just the counter, you know, the basic bitch counter that a lot of the weapons get. The 3-bar Fable Art is that. As you can see, you can light enemies on fire pretty quick. It's a fire weapon. So you can light enemies on fire really quickly. The only issue with it is that while you're doing that, you know, you're kind of going to be vulnerable. So keep that in mind. But if you want an alternative to the salamander daggers, like you want to hit a little bit harder but you still want fire, then this is the weapon there for you. Keep it in mind, you know, this is slower. The salamander dagger is faster. So depending on what you need, if you don't need speed necessarily, then you need more power, then go for this. So say for instance there's an enemy that's weak against fire, but their attacks are easily telegraphed, like you can tell when they're going to attack. Smack this on, and use that instead and take them out a bit faster. Another weapon is this. This is a circular electric chainsaw blade. You do get this. You should actually maybe have this already if you've gone through. You find it in the area. It looks like another house. It almost looks like it looks like the music. There's music playing outside, and the music is all distorted. Um, it sounds heroic, but it's all distorted. It's right before you take the tram to get to the swamp. It's that area, and you get this. This is an electric chainsaw, slow as balls. Those are just the taps, the tapping. You see here, as I'm attacking, it's spinning. As you attack with the weapon, it spins up electric blitz. So, you will do more electric blitz damage the more you hit the enemy. And the max is 4 stacks, so we'll hit and then, you do electric blitz, higher electric blitz damage. This is the heavy. I'm charged heavy. That's the tap heavy. You have the electric coil stick. The electric coil stick is the better weapon. It's a faster weapon. It won't do as much damage as this if you choose to go this route. But what you can do to kind of offset the slow speed is to put a different handle on this weapon. You can put the acidic crystal spear handle on it if you want, or you can put the electric coil stick handle on it. And it'll make it slightly faster. It'll still be slow, but it won't be as slow as this. Essentially, the trade-off for the speed is the range you get with the weapon and the increasing electric blitz. So, moving on. This weapon here, the Shimonia Coil Head, I think it is probably the slowest weapon in the game. And super stamina heavy, as you can see. 4 hits and my stamina was gone. I was using Puppet Ripper for a while. Puppet Ripper, you can trade the Puppet King's Ergo for it. It's a technique weapon. Has a bit of range on it. The heavy, that's a tap heavy, shoots off the sickle for some range. The charge heavy is that. It's a circular range heavy. It will hit any enemy that is around you, in front of you, in a half circle, basically. So I don't think it'll hit enemies that are behind you. We'll check right quick. Nope. Just in a half circle. Alright, so it has 2 Fable Arts. Both of them are 3 bars. This one, the Puppet King uses that move. It's that really heavy uppercut that he does. That's just the tap one on my button is triangle. The other one is this. And just a whirling beverage type. That one does hit enemies behind you. So both the Fable Arts cost 3 bars. So keep that in mind. Alright, so we're here. Shovel enemy should be here. Alright, so first things first, let me show you this again. Right. Right, so that's the heavy attack. Right. And then of course you can keep attacking as you will. Stunned. Game. Simple as that. It does. Well, I say it's simple. It's a heavy learning curve for an enemy and knowing when you can actually get that off. So let me reset here. I'm gonna use the Tyrant Dagger. I'm going to buff for a higher crit. Let him fire off. Crit, crit, crit. Crit, crit. Got hit by that. Three crits in a row. Yeah, I took that chance. Be horrible. But let's go down here. I noticed you had a bit of trouble over here where all these enemies were. They came at you. See here, when I see this, me being a Souls game player, trap 100%. And when you got there, you figured out. When you got there, all these enemies jumped out at you. So what I would do is kill that guy, finish him off, look around. I know there's an enemy right here, or there was an enemy that will spawn right here. Yeah, and then all these other enemies just come out of the woodwork. So instead of having them all here coming at me, roll one, take him out. In a situation like that, to where you see something that looks sus, puppet strings is a good way of dealing with it, because you can just test the waters. Enemy here, back up. You come here. I'm sure you're familiar with this area. You know, but moving on. That's it there. Hope you found it helpful. Sorry for being so long. Just want to help you out. Love your content. And seeing you play the game, seeing you having some trouble, I've been there. You know, want to help you out. You know, things of that nature. But there you go.